All right, what's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a hump day edition of Morning Scone presented by Brock, the Banners Orthopedic Clinic, Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know. Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. All right, y'all. Tough night for the Pelicans last night. They got absolutely waxed by Memphis. Really good Memphis team, presently the 2 seed in the West. And then you had no Brandon Ingram, so that obviously made it far more difficult, not having your best player. Onward. Baseball Tigers did not play last night because of rain. That game against McNeese moved to today. So it'll be played this evening, or it's scheduled to be played this evening. I know there's the threat of more bad weather, so see if they can get that one in tonight. I did want to check on one thing real quick because Bill Francis did send us the game notes. I'm trying to see if they did, in fact, name a starter. Did not list a pitching matchup. Okay. Did not list a pitching matchup for tonight's ball game. So, assuming we're going to see Mikhail Hilliard, if not start, we'll certainly see him in the ball game. So, Tigers back at it tonight in baseball. And then, of course, what I have there in the headline is LSU received its notice of allegations from the NCAA. It has not been formally released by LSU, but Pat Forty had it first. Of course he did. And then others followed with the same report that LSU did, in fact, receive its notice of allegations. For those that aren't aware, the NOA is basically the NCAA. It's the first part of the infractions process where the NCAA sends official notice to say, hey, we're alleging wrongdoing. And it sounds kind of stupid because this now, and you're just now getting a notice of allegations, which of course is part of the issue, because it's dragged on this long and because they don't really have evidence on Will Wade. So a couple of things. Eventually, what is in the NOA will be reported. It'll come to light via Freedom of Information records request. I got a call yesterday around lunchtime that LSU had received their NOA. And so I started making a lot of phone calls, trying to see what I could find out about it. And there weren't many people at LSU that were aware. So my guess is the NCAA sent the NOA to LSU's attorney. Now remember, LSU for many years, 70 years, whatever, employed Taylor Porter. With the Title IX stuff, they fired Taylor Porter and hired a law firm out of Birmingham. I was very adamant about my feelings about them firing Taylor Porter. It was absolutely stupid to do so. That's whenever they were being called, before the state legislature to testify, and everyone was criticizing because the punishments weren't severe enough after Hush Blackwell. It was basically Miriam and Verge were suspended for a little time, and they hired a new compliance officer or something. It was just stupid. And so people were critical. They started having hearings at the Capitol. And so they're like, okay, well, what if we scrub the Arias guys from the record book and fire Taylor Porter? Would that suffice? I mean, that's basically what they were doing. It was stupid. But anyway, so the law firm is now at Birmingham. My guess is the NCAA sent the NOA to the law firm so that way it wouldn't be subject to FOI, or Freedom of Information Act records request, because the law firm isn't a public entity. So anyway, in time we will find out what's in the NOA, what the allegations are against, I presume, Will Wade and LSU basketball, and then in a amount of time LSU can issue a response, at which point the NCAA would respond to LSU's response. Then a hearing would be scheduled, and then after the hearing there would be a notice of violations or infractions for violations that would come should the NCAA choose to pursue, which of course we all assume they will. And then Scott Woodward will have a decision to make. Do you fire Will Wade for cause, or do you retain him? This is still, I believe, many months down the line. I think the fact that this all broke, 2 days before LSU plays in the SEC tournament and right before March Madness is not in any way a coincidence. Will Wade is not liked. Not only the wiretap, but his defiance. He even said on his coach's show this week, there's a game being played. It's like Chattanooga, and somebody's like, "Yeah, it's one of the 3 coaches in the country that actually likes me." I mean, he's aware of it, and so yeah, Pat Forty, obviously broke this news when he did intentionally, and I just hope it doesn't really serve as like a dark cloud over this postseason for this team. So that's where they are right now. All right, let's say some good mornings. Y'all got questions, comments, the drill, fire away. We appreciate y'all as always for being here. No Saint, good morning. When will we know if we get a compensatory pick for Hendrickson? That's not until after the I don't think they do get a compensatory pick for Trey Hendrickson. Wait, they do. They do. They get one. It's for Hendrickson, Terry Fontenot, who went to the Falcons, and Rankins. Isn't that the other one? They've got 3 compensatory picks this year. One of them is yeah, the Saints got one for Hendrickson. Yeah, a 4th. I think the Saints got a 4th round pick for Trey Hendrickson in the Trey Hendrickson deal. And they got one for Sheldon Rankins too. And then Dag Nabbit. All right, the Saints got the number 100 overall pick for Terry Fontenot. They got a 4th round pick for Trey Hendrickson. And a 6th round pick for Sheldon Rankins. Trivia Carter, Spurge, Eric Wilderotter, Kemper is flying. Good morning, Eric Wilderotter, banana. We did Scone and Tea yesterday, and the first 15 minutes of the podcast was a random, rambling stream of consciousness that I can't believe anybody would sit through. And so, at the end of the podcast, we left we left the code word at the end of the podcast. If anyone actually made it, I was like, "I'll follow you on Twitter," and it was banana. So, but I'm done following because now it's been out there. We've retweeted. People know it. I can't even be assured, that people did make it to the end. But thank you, Eric. I appreciate it. Cliff Nelson, good morning. Shane O'Mac, Joseph Armato, Pegasus J, good morning. Made it to the end, isn't that bananas? Cliff Nelson made it to me. Ben Wild, what's going on? Wendell Norman, good morning. Pat Forty at it again with the same old story. Will Wade is a gangster. But it's not the same old story, Wendell. This is actually news because he did actually receive the NOA now. LSU received the NOA. It's not LSU's going to receive the NOA. It's not there's progress in this. It's not just a regurgitation of the same story. LSU actually did receive their notice of allegations this time. So it is an official step. But to all of you, it feels like the boy who cried wolf because we've heard this so many times. But this actually is newsworthy because he finally did receive the NOA. Or LSU did. Trey Guy, good morning. Trivia, why did they reschedule the game? Rain. There was rain in the area last night. Tim Gotro, wrap in batches, out to boot. Morning, Matt. Finally get to catch Morning Scone live since I moved to Cali. All right, out to boot. Good to see you there, man. Where are you in Cali? Hopefully your weather's better than ours right now. It's been great here, but man, rainy and a little cold now. Lamar Stevens, why does college basketball hate Wade but recruits like him? I think it's just because of his brashness. I mean, the fact, look, let's be real, man. Everybody cheats. But even in the FBI investigation, I mean, Auburn was at the center of it, but it was Chuck Person, not Bruce Pearl. Arizona was at the center of it, but it was, oh crap. It was, Book Richardson, not Sean Miller, right? Kansas was at the middle of it, but it was whatever their assistant's name is, not Kirk Townsend, not Bill Self. So like, that's the big difference, right? Like, Will Wade's voice is on the wiretap. He gave himself no plausible deniability. That's the difference. So like, he was just sloppy and careless. He was the one having the conversation with Christian Dawkins about the strong ass offer. That's the problem. And it's just, it was bold and brazen and been brash and defiant, and LSU fans have rallied behind him, and it's just, I mean, John Calipari's had Final Fours vacated at 2 different schools, and he's not as hated as Will Wade. Brandon, good morning. How's he rocking, Drew? They're good. Thanks, man. Travis Young, what direction do you see going forward with the running back spot with Kamara being out? Well, they got to add at least one. Unless if you're planning to bring back Mark Ingram and you're convinced Tony Jones Jr. can be a guy, which I don't know that that's the case. So I think they're going to use a pick mid-round somewhere on a running back if they feel like there's a versatile guy that fits what they want to do. Remember, Kamara was a 3rd-round pick as well. I mean, there's going to be those guys that are available as running backs have been devalued. You can bring in that guy, hopefully to serve as the complement to Kamara, and maybe you can get a little more, squeeze a little more juice out of the orange from Mark Ingram, or if Tony Jones continues to emerge, that sort of thing. But I do think they'll use a mid-round pick on a running back. Glenn Garner, good morning. Bruised ribs finally better. Going back to work so I can make you rock some candles. All right, Glenn. Glad to hear you going back to work, man. Glad you're feeling better, too. Hey, Keith H. Morning, Matt. Got my coffee. Need a little hustle. You got it, Keith H. I left you hanging yesterday, so let's do it today so I don't run out of time. Inspections. Told you we had a guy who was adding a skylight to his roof. They went up there to do the skylight and realized he had a bunch of missing shingles. Had no idea. Why? Because you don't know if you're missing shingles or you have roof damage until you get up there. So let us get up there for free. There's no catch. It's completely free. You don't need to be home. Schedule a day. We come by. Our field inspector gets on your roof, walks the roof, puts a full report together. And it's free. HUDCOroofing.com, HUDCOroofing.com. Can LSU tell the investigators to pound sand? They have in many ways. When you're not super cooperative with an investigation, it's also part of the reason why it drags on. Sean Comiskey, morning, Matt. Get a new chair yet? What's the maddest you've ever been while on radio or doing an interview? Mattis, probably when Harrelson turned off my microphone. And I know some people laugh about that and joke about it, but it's not in any way funny. And he and I had that conversation afterwards, and then he was reprimanded by management for it. He's just a young guy doing a stupid thing. But I mean, it's radio's fun, right? But what a lot of people sometimes lose sight of is like, that's how I pay my mortgage, right? That's how I afford for Drew to go to special needs school and a bajillion therapies, and I work my ass off. Excuse me, morning Scone. And one of the rules when you're a host is you never lose control. I mean, it's like you're piloting a plane. I mean, you don't give the reins to a passenger, like you're the pilot. So yeah, that was in no way was that okay. So that I was furious. Still today when I think about it, I get upset. Like, anyway, but he knows we're good. It's so stupid that they're still pursuing this crap when we have NIL now. But it's not, Brandon. I mean, come on, you know better than that. First of all, NIL is in exchange for a deliverable. This was alleged pay for play, and it was pre-NIL. So, you know better. Like, you all know better than that. All right, out to boot in Sacramento. Weather's good. Weather's great. One of the only good things about here. Got it. Lamar Stevens. Brian Penn, good morning from Buffalo, NY. Jordan Thomas, are there no longer any allegations on the football program? There are. It just hasn't been resolved. But I was also told yesterday that resolution for the football program should be coming soon. And I was also told that the NCAA probably is not going to buy the whole bowl ban during COVID thing. If you remember, LSU imposed a bowl ban during the COVID year, and some of the chatter from the NCAA side of things is like, do they think we're stupid? So I don't know that that's going to hold up. There could be more. Glenn Garner, Rogers stays in Green Bay, no surprise. Wilson at Denver caught me off guard. I think that caught everybody off guard. It certainly did me. But Denver was willing to part with the assets. I mean, that was their approach with Peyton. They got him to 2 Super Bowls. They won 1. Looking to do the same thing with Russ. I wish the Saints would have done the same thing. I mean, they're very similar in that respect. They've got everything but the quarterback. Reed Rule, Brian Robinson Jr. in the 3rd round. I'd be down with that if he was available. Brandon, good morning. Are we likely to get a rant tonight at Nightcap? Probably. That's usually the case. Lamar Stevens, are you as clueless about who will start on LSU's O-line as I am? Of course not. No, Lamar, I mean, I kind of am. I don't think they have a great sense of it yet right now. I'll be really interested to see who where the 2 transfers fit in, from, Miles Frazier from FIU and Tremont Shorts from East Tennessee State. Because if both of those guys are starters, where do they start? I think it'll be interesting to see. Kirk Taylor, every March there's a hit piece on Wade. Again, except this isn't a hit piece. Like, this is previous ones, yes. It was just continuing to keep the story fresh. This is actually news. This isn't a hit piece. Like, this is news. Like, this is newsworthy. LSU received formally its notice of allegations. Like, that is newsworthy. Rode Yule, good morning from DFW Terminal B. Okay. Why are you going to the airport? Flying somewhere? Rode Yule, David Wallace, Matt Bertrand, Mark, good morning. Yep, back-to-back for the Pels tonight. Lost last night to Memphis. They play tonight against Orlando. Kayla Bernard, good morning. Daniel Sinetz, Jeff McKithen, Michael Cook, good morning. Deborah Coward, Robert Martin, where can I buy a Hudco hat? I'm a roofing contractor in Arizona. I like to support my fellow roofing contractors. It's very cool. We don't really have them for sale, Robert, but I can mail you one if you agree to post a picture of it. I mean, got to get some type of marketing value out of it. Who will win the Southland Conference basketball tournament? I have no idea. Daniel Sinetz, looks like Leonard Fournette will be available in free agency. Any chance he comes to the Saints, Kamara may end up in jail. Look, I wish they would have signed Fournette whenever he went to Tampa. I was very adamant about that. And I'm not so sure he doesn't end back up in Tampa. They certainly don't have a better option. He may just be looking for the highest bidder, and maybe Tampa's not going to be that team. But considering what the Saints have wrapped up in Kamara's contract, I don't know that they can afford to bring in another high-priced running back, right? So, like, Kamara is, here you go. All right, Kamara this year has a $14.5 million cap hit. Like, he's a candidate for a restructure, no doubt. But when you have that much money sunken into a running back, it's hard to imagine that you're going to be able to afford to bring in another. Like, that's not your biggest need in free agency, Debbie Jenkins, good morning. Kirk, going to the Florida Keys for vacation. Be listening to the new Scone and Tea on the flight. All right, Kirk, thanks, man. Hey, Dad, good morning. Jason Horn, Tony Williams. Most of the great coaches, everyone tends to hate them. Nick Saban, Bobby Knight, nobody likes them either. I don't know that I'm completely in agreement with that. There are exceptions. Dabo's well-liked. Kirby Smart's pretty well-liked. Mike Krzyzewski's well-liked. I just think there's different styles. I think Will was just young, hadn't accomplished anything, and was really brash and careless. And then when he got popped, was defiant. That's been the problem. But outside of here, it may not be a problem. But that's why you get the vitriol. Mark Allen, ready to move on, fire him or keep him? Well, we're not there yet, Mark. It's really going to be Scott Woodward's decision, and Scott didn't hire him, and may want to bring in his own guy. I remember you got a new university president here as well, and they may want to just move on, which would be crazy. In my opinion, it would be crazy because you're talking about a coach that has brought you consistent success that you have not experienced since the 1980s, and there's no guarantee that the next guy that you go hire will bring that same level of success. And Scott's going to spend money, but he spent money on Buzz Williams at A&M. How's that going at A&M? You know what I mean? It's not easy. Courtney Storr, Charlie Cavell, good morning. Jason Lustness, brother-in-law's an upcoming birthday. Bourbon recommendations, $40 to $50 range. Yeah, do you know what he likes? I'd always recommend, for a birthday, something like that, I'd recommend Old Elk or Four Roses Single Barrel or Four Roses Small Batch Select. Both those are really good options in that price range. Ryan Dixon, Matt, did you get Greg's information, the mindfulness coach for Will Wade? I did. Thank you for the reminder, Ryan. I need to go back and check that. I think that was late last week. But I did. Thank you. I will go check it. I will. All right, we're just about done here. Eric Waderotter, what do you put as the betting line? Wade is back next year. I think it's coin flip as of right now. Until I see what's in the NOA, I get the sense that Scott isn't maybe the biggest fan of Will Wade's and would want to bring in his own guy. So probably more so they would move on. Kai M, Tracy Poole, Clint, good morning. LSU got to figure out pitching rotation for SEC play. Okay, they're aware. Why are you all upset about it and everything? With a lot of exclamation points. You think they don't know they need to figure out the pitching rotation? And that's probably going to be a work in progress. Let's see. Will the NOA cost his recruits similar to Cisse from last year? I don't know. Lamar Stevens, Joseph Falgraff. Heard people say football allegations are lumped in with the NOA. Is this true? No, Joseph, here's the thing. LSU has pushed for football, the case to be closed, the book to be closed on football because if you simultaneously have level 1 violations in 2 sports, then you can get popped with lack of institutional control. That's why LSU has pushed for football to have the book closed on it. And they were close until Odell decided to start paying players on the field after the championship game, which then added another layer to it. Oh God, I have to go. Anyway, so there's some belief that maybe LSU would make basketball and will weigh the sacrificial lamb to protect football. There is that school of thought. Matt Lusto has to be level 1 or 2 to terminate with cause. Yes. Lamar Stevens, Boeheim had 100 wins vacated and is there because he's coaching his sons at Q's. Yeah, there's a lot. Brian Pike, Scott Woodward's earning a salary for sure. I know. Okay, y'all, I gotta bounce. I'm sorry. It's already 8 o'clock. I gotta go. All right, y'all have an awesome day. Thank you so much for watching. As always, shout out to Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. You need an orthopedist, you go to Brock. You need a roof, call Hudco. All right, y'all. LSU Daily is already live. AFR 3, nightcap was going tonight. However you're watching right now, nightcap at 9 o'clock tonight. We'll see you then. Peace. Have a great day.